Welcome back. You were probably expecting to see this on the BSTN channel. We're on the Super Channel on LinkedIn and Super Channel on YouTube. Welcome back to BSTN. It stands for Breakthrough Sales Tactics Network. We do live, semi-live shows every week. We have 4 this week, including Numbers Known, which is a show about the numbers that top performers care about most, that aren't just the metrics. We have Show Me Your Tech Stack with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ryan Gunn, who is now at First Touch. Shout out for their recent product launch. We have Pardon the POV, very spicy, between a redheaded CEO named Matt and Crispy the Rizzler, who also got a haircut this week. Stay tuned just for that. He looks awesome. And we have, what did I forget? Fast and Furious with Sara Hanlon and Matt. That is about how people scale services businesses, specifically HubSpot Solutions Partners. And we have 4 commercials, courtesy of our media team. I'm Rob. Probably should have introduced myself first. If you're happening across this is a great thing to either pay attention to or have in the background, courtesy of me. I think the Numbers Known episode is 40 minutes, but if you're going to be on LinkedIn anyway and you're going to be paying attention to this, think of it as a video podcast. It's a podcast with video. Shocking concept, I know. Without much further ado, we're going to launch into a first commercial just to get people excited. This is a clip from an interview that Chris Carolyn and I did with Jay Schwedelson, and it's about Unbound. And then we're going to hop into the first show, which would be Numbers Known. Check it out. What am I going to actually do versus what am I going to pontificate about? And you, for sure, are a person of action. Is that kind of an underlying theme in the book? Like do it. It doesn't matter as long as you're out there doing something.
Yeah, and you know, I learned this. I had an opportunity to talk with me, interview Barbara Corcoran. That's me doing a flex right there. And one of the things that she told me that really stuck with me, and I put it in the book, is that a lot of people make, okay, I'm going to make my 5-year plan, or I'm going to make my 6-month plan, and I'm going to do this, that, or whatever. And I did that for my business, and I realized the day after I made this 6-month plan, I woke up that next morning, I was no closer to solving the issues I had in my life. And what she said is, you need like a 5-minute plan. Like, what are you doing right now? Screw your 6-month plan. And then that's really how I function, because so much can change in 6 months, right? So do something, break something, fail, embarrass yourself, be a loser, everything. That's kind of my mantra.
5-minute plan. I've got one of those, including starting to play this episode. Jay's book comes out on the 9th. It's called Stupider People Have Done It. I'm one of those people, and stupider people have ordered the book. It's a bestseller. All the proceeds go to fight cancer. That Jay is not technically affiliated with Super or BSTN or any of this. He's just a damn good guy and very authentic, and you should buy the book. We'll have other very odd ad placement throughout. Speaking of, this is not an ad, but this is a show that we did with the one, the only Jen Allen-Knuth. And we talked to her about sales, about thought leadership, about her journey, and about the numbers that meant the most to her now and along the way. With I keep saying no further ado. We're going to get right into this now. Numbers Known with Jen Allen-Knuth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Knotorious, the knowledgeable Jen Allen-Knuth. Welcome back to Numbers Known, the show that will stop at nothing to find out what motivates top performers. I'm Rob. I'm the host. Today we have a guest who really, let's be honest, needs no introduction, but she does deserve the best one possible. Now, it might be a bit long-winded because she's not someone you can summarize in a sentence. So here we go. She's a Penn State grad and Nittany Lion who spent 14 years knocking out Challenger quota and has knit together one of the most loyal audiences in B2B. She has a knack for knowing exactly when to bet on herself. So rather recently, she left it all behind and built her own solo venture, a business now trusted by GE, IBM, Autodesk, Bloomberg, basically anyone who's ever lost a deal to status quo. She's a keynote speaker, a host of 30 Minutes to President's Club, an advisor to women in sales, a champion for shelter dogs everywhere, and the person most likely to make you feel like you genuinely can need to rewrite your last cold email. So, with absolutely no further ado, Ladies and gentlemen, the Canotorious, the Knowledgeable, Jen Allen-Knuth. There we go.
Could not have been better. I'm dead. What you just did is make up for all the people that have pronounced my last name Knuth when I walked on a stage. So thank you. Thank you.
If you don't watch any other part of the episode, and trust me, I'm not going to be able to top that. Know how to say her name. That's the most important part of this whole thing.
That was incredible. Thank you.
I'm not going to tell you how long that took. I made it a point to cannot use AI for almost all of that. So, and then I saw a post where you'd said, responded to somebody about an SKO walk-up song. And you were talking about your 80s hairband music and like that whole theme. And somebody said, you should do Here I Go with Jen. I didn't have time to change the whole song, but I felt like that was appropriate.
I mean, your brand to me would have been like, you would have filmed a whole production video. There would have been a whole thing.
I should have.
I know you have the costumes for it. I know it.
Man, I have a guitar right behind me right now. So damn. Okay. Well, starting off on one good foot, one bad foot. Jen, how are you? We'll start there.
I am amazing. I'm always happy when I'm with you. How are you?
I appreciate that. I am, I'm not bad. You know, I'm making it. We were talking about our animals. You were having some pups in the background misbehaving. My cat, I posted a TikTok video earlier after I've been trying to take a break from that I walked around the corner and we just got a new cat, and both cats were sitting on my recliner staring at me. So I know something is broken somewhere. Can't figure out where just
or
yet.
They're plotting to break something.
Speaking of cats and animals.
If you've ever joined a call with me and like the call recorder gets there before you do, it's just me yelling obscenities at my dogs, which I love dearly, but they always go off right about now at this time.
This is numbers canon for this episode. The guest goes first. The whole format of the show, if you're just listening, watching for the first time, talk to top performers, people that are interesting and that are motivated. The number format is, can you pick 3 numbers that you can have a conversation about how they motivate you, how they drive you, how they explain kind of where you are? I have 3. You are the guest. I will let you give your first number, and I will do a poor job guessing what it is and what it means.
Well, now we're just going to go with the easy layup. My first number was freaking 4.
Is it how many dogs you have?
Are we keeping score? Is there a punishment for losing?
No punishment for losing, but I will play. I have sound effects in here, so I am on the board, baby. I've got one.
I feel set up. This is
not a setup. Not a setup. So that would be, I mean, this would be the shortest podcast ever if that were all it was. But in what way is 4? I know that you do stuff with mini paws. You have probably my favorite episodic or recurring Saturday post. Your husband is an insanely talented photographer, so that helps a lot with, I'm sure, visibility. But explain that a little bit. Like, why dogs? Why is that important to you? Of all the numbers you could have chosen, why is that one of the 3?
Yeah, so I picked 4, obviously, because my dogs are really important to me. I also, gosh, sorry.
They heard their name.
Really letting it known. But I also picked it because when I started kind of leaning into LinkedIn, it was more so when I was an AE, I was just trying to like drum up business. And then I was lucky enough to work for a company at Lavender where like it helped me grow a lot because they had a big social media presence. And then recently I crossed 100,000 followers, not dollars, 100,000 followers. And I started thinking about like, what am I doing this for? Is this just to promote myself? Is this to promote like my business? And I realized that like, there's a lot that you can do when you have a voice. And sometimes we like tend to use that selfishly. And I just realized like dogs or animals in general are something that a lot of us care a lot about. And so I recently started doing this thing where like anyone can sponsor a Saturday post. They donate directly to a dog shelter. And then I just highlight their business. And it's been a really awesome way to take something that like I'm personally passionate about and feel like I'm doing some sort of good on LinkedIn. And it's also candidly like come back indirectly to my business. Like a lot of the sales calls that I have, they start off with like, oh, I love the dog from a couple weeks ago, or we are big rescue fans too. And so it's been a nice way, I think, to feel a bit more sense of purpose in the time that I spend on LinkedIn, but also like contribute back to something that matters to me.
Man, we only have 45. I have so many questions from that. I'll start with kind of an observation, and that's something that regardless of like your industry, your tech, it's human, it makes you more relevant. I said this in a post earlier, and I kind of experienced that with you at conferences we've been at, most recently Southbound, where there's like an asynchronous trust that's built whenever somebody's active and whenever you're following them or reading them or seeing them on TV, like whatever it is. There's an element, I don't want to call it celebrity, but there's an element of like, I kind of know this person because they put themselves out there. And there's like a multiplicative effect when you realize, and you do this well, Devin does it well, when you realize that the person that you're talking to in real life and meeting and having interactions with is relatively the same, or if not extremely close to how they act, how they write on a platform. I would say from that, the question for me becomes, is it the platform thing is so good, I am inspired to do that, but does it require the platform first? Like, is there a way to get visibility into something you're passionate about prior to having 100,000 followers and feel like you're making an impact?
1,000,000%. There's a woman that I follow, Marissa. She works for a recruiting firm, and she does these dog posts that are like Feel Good Monday posts. And she doesn't have like an enormous platform, but it's something she cares a lot about as well. And so she does it every single Monday. And what's been cool is like, obviously it caught my eye because I love fellow dog lovers, but it was like, why on earth would I ever follow a recruiter in that space? Because it's not something I need. But now if there was ever a need for someone to have that, I would think of Marissa first, because she's the one that stands out to me as someone who stands for something that I care about. And so I absolutely don't think you need it. For me, it was just sort of this moment of like, what am I just going to do, like a bunch of brand deals now and sell out and make all this money? Or could I do something different that wouldn't make me feel so gross at night?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Gross is probably when you reach that type of territory, and not being facetious at all, but 100,000 people, right, see your content pretty regularly. So I can assume it's a bit different when you're at that level. The second question from that as a follow-up is, a lot of people talk about content pillars. You just did a talk at Southbound on trust of humans versus trust of brands. I have found myself getting into, it's not brand deals, and I wouldn't qualify it as gross yet, but it's either like the Rob content or the supered content, but there's not a third like category of pillar where it's something to what you're doing that you stand for. What are your pillars, if you could break them down for us? So if anybody know Demand Jen yet, and they're interested in like the 3 or 4 things you talk about regularly, what are they? And how would you advise somebody to like figure out what those are for themselves?
Yeah, I want to throw Devin Reed a good compliment here, because I think Devin, I heard him speak a couple months ago, and he shared something in his talk that I thought was really good, which is like, what are the 3 or 4 words that you want to be known for? So like if those 3 or 4 words came up in a meeting, someone would immediately be like, oh, you got to talk to Rob Jones, right? And so I thought a lot about that. And there's so many words you can think of, but I think what I subconsciously did is I tried to make status quo, like buyer status quo, my lane. And the reason for that is, if you think about what I do, I'm a sales trainer, right? Like I don't try to over glorify my company. I go in and I train sales teams. If I try to stand out as the category, like I'm the best sales trainer, best is so subjective. It means nothing to anybody. And it's like, I'm grounding it on the solution. And so what I do look back, and I'm glad I did, is I was always anchored in like, what is my specific thing that I'm helping companies fight with sales training? And it's this like buyer indifference, where they're like, sure, you might have a better solution, but good is good enough. So buyer status quo is kind of like my overarching theme. And then underneath that, that's how I think about pillars. The first pillar is outbound generated pipeline. Like when status quo is your enemy, how do you write outbound that competes against it? The second one is running discovery. When you're talking to an executive, they're not going to sit through your product interrogation. And then the third one is like when you're selling enterprise, you run into buying groups a lot. And it can be really easy to sell to one person, but when you got 10 different people in the room with 10 different opinions on what problem is important, that's a whole different ball game. So I think about like one overarching pillar and then a couple pillars underneath, and then dogs and just like making fun of Kyle Acey and other men in tech are maybe my other pillar.
That's helpful. I think it's probably easier to do. Maybe it shouldn't be easier, but it's easier for me to think about those things for me rather than like a category for our product. Like I should probably know more specifically, especially as we rebuild kind of what we're shipping to people, how that makes sense. That is really good. Shout out to Kyle Acey who made it onto this podcast. I feel like he appears in everywhere that we have an interaction somehow. It's a little outside joke, not even an inside joke like that. He will hear that, and that'll be funny. Is there a last follow-up on this? And you don't have to go too long into this, but it's very much word association, SEO, or the vibes I get from that, right? Like when you're trying to rank for that, it's like, we want to be the best HubSpot provider. You're not going to outrank HubSpot because they own that. So is that part of what the sub pillars almost help you to do, right? Like you're not going to be the best sales trainer. That's probably, you worked for these businesses, entities that have that associated with them already. So it's like breaking down specifically, okay, what training, what thing am I really aiming for?
Yeah. And I think it's also like, am I going to go up against a big methodology company or some sales trainer that's been doing this for 40 years? No, like that would just be a stupid decision for me to try to compete on that level. And so people have different opinions around like, do you stay generalized? Do you go niche? But for breaking into a crowded category, I just think it's really hard to be known for the thing you do, like the solution you offer. It's easier to be known for the specific problem you solve. So that was the path that really worked for me. And I think it's also the thing that creates that connection with the reader, because what I'm going for is the reader reads a post and says, oh my gosh, I just lost a deal to the same thing. Or oh, I just wrote an email that did that exact thing and I know I need to change. That to me is, I think, what makes the connection between the content and the person.
I'm segueing directly from that comment into my first number for you.
Let's go.
Editing team, do something cool right there. 53. Do you know what that represents?
53. This is probably the wrong answer, but I spent so many years at Challenger. 53% of the buying. Is it?
Yeah, you got it. Yes, we are now tied.
Oh.
You get the Gong. That is where I'm not affiliated, sponsored by Gong.
Just to be known.
Yes. So I had a good feeling. It can be a percentage. I was going to give you a hint, but yeah, more than 53% of what drives B2B customer loyalty is the quality of the experience itself. You just mentioned that, right? It's you were getting more into it's better generally and almost literally how you go about solving the problem. It's how that problem looks to people, how it looks to buying groups. Business customers perceive very little difference. I lived this at Rev Partners where being in sales and being like an interim sales manager and being, closer to all of that for a long period of time. I was a part of closed won revenue where people said, it was between you and someone else, but all the accreditations and stuff was relatively the same. The experience was really what sold it. It was the operating principles that you guys used. It was how quickly you recapped. It was how you did business. So the first question from that I think you can speak into, what did an ideal experience look like in 2010, 2015? Like how has that changed now whenever that's the thing that really people buy into? How has that changed and evolved over the years, or has it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like they first did the research in 2008. It became popularized when like the research got more well-known when the book came out. And they continued to study it. And sure, there were like small percentage shifts, but the trend line of like how much does your brand play into it, your product, your price, and your sales experience, like sales experience never dropped below any of the other ones. And I think that totally makes sense because even back in 2010, we're still well into the time where people are using the internet to shop and learn on their own because no one wants to come to a buying conversation feeling like the least prepared between the seller and the customer. But if you think about it now, my God, like you can get so much done
Terrifying.
Just in like ChatGPT and Claude, and who knows if it's accurate or not. So if I don't think that the seller has anything to offer me other than just a demo or a product description, which I can basically kind of get most of without you, then I do understand why people say like, oh, people prefer a rep-free experience. I don't think that anyone prefers a rep-free experience. I think people prefer talking to someone who has more to offer than just like, let me show you the bells and whistles. So I think it's always been the case. I candidly, I think it will still always be the case. If we think about a future state where it's like AI agents talking to AI agents, it's still going to be the one that is like that's best at anticipating the prospect's next question, or the one who's bringing an idea to the conversation, not just reacting. Like, I think one thing I love that most, Claude, any of them do, is you ask a question and then like the next thing is like, were you thinking about this too? And I'm like, sure, let's go down that path. Sure. So I still think these elements matter, whether they're delivered digitally or by a person. Who's to say? But yeah, I think they've always been a big driver of decisions.
I think interestingly, and you can say I'm full of shit or that I'm onto something, maybe I'm fine with either. It feels like I produce another show for Matt and some guests that come on and basically argue with each other over sales and sales enablement, like thought leadership questions. And Matt has consistently, that's been one of the questions that's been brought up, is like, what matters most? Experience, like with the rise of AI, why would a seller need, or why would a buyer need to talk to a seller? Right? There's been that conversation, and essentially exactly what you just said. I didn't spend 14 years, 18 years carrying quota with Challenger, but I know that it's teach, tailor, take control, or tailor, teach, take control. There's 3 T's that kind of like inform you like how you're supposed to approach that process. And really the takeaway, whether I know the order or not, is like, that's how people interact with AI now anyway.
Yes.
Which is like, I'm giving you info to learn about me and what I want. I'm going to tailor it based on your response and edit. Now I'm going to challenge you that this information is correct, not correct, off, whatever. Do you anticipate that being more involved? Like, Challenger has been ahead of the curve forever. And it seems like based on that methodology, it's very similar to how people are now interacting with AI. Is that scary? Is that exciting that it's kind of how things are coming to light?
I think I wouldn't say it's scary, right? Like, we all want to make good decisions. If AI helps us make better decisions, that's a good thing. I will say, like, when Challenger talked about tailor, it was about like tailor to the persona, largely, right? So it was a lot of like other CIOs like you or other companies like you. And this is where I would say I take a slight divide, because I think now when you have an AI bot, you're not asking others like me, you're asking me.
Just learning real quick.
Yeah. You're asking me, right? The expectation is I want a conversation about me, not others like me. And right. AI can get away with it because we spend hours in it. We teach it, we build skill files and all this stuff. And so we trust it to make that assessment. But I think sellers now, and this is why I spend so much time on this, I think the expectation has risen for sellers that if I'm going to spend time on you, I want you to talk to me about my business, not about some generalized statement of others like you, until I believe that you know enough about us. So that, I think, is a really interesting dynamic. Like 10 years ago, it was enough to say other CIOs are up against this. Now I think the expectation is you can see my business. You can put a couple prompts in to see what our CEO is asking us to get done. Like, now what do you think about this problem? And now what do you know about that problem? That's a much higher bar than it was 10 years ago.
I feel like really good people that have taken a lot of reps, have done countless demos, have basically know the product inside and out. And this is like a foreshadowing for my next question, can almost answer really as quickly, if not more quickly, than you would even use AI to do with the context that you have. So there's still, I mean, you think about in-person and leading training and being on calls and like having that, especially I would think in front of a buying group, being able to demonstrate that knowledge, expertise, and understanding of individual context live, like as it's happening, has got to go a long way in being able to establish and build rapport to be able to win over, somebody to your way of thinking or whatever it is you're trying to offer them. Have you found that to be true?
1,000%, right? It's still a very emotional decision to buy because the risk is really high if you get it wrong. And so as much as you can learn from an AI bot, I think it's still, like, my husband just traded in his car and got a new car. And he did all this research on AI and knew the car he wanted. And then he went to the store and the salesman brought up a couple things. And then he ended up changing his mind, right? So it's like, we can think we're as educated as we want, but there is something to be said about someone who really knows their shit. If they get you thinking differently, it kind of makes you reconsider all of the research you've done. So I'm a firm believer that our profession's not going to go away. I do think like, if it's a transactional, I can pay with a credit card and it's inbound, I can do PLG. I think that stuff's going to be a lot harder to justify like as big of a sales team as there is. I'm not saying I'm happy about that, but I think like the more complex sales, it's still such an emotional decision to make a change. You're going to want to talk to somebody. They just have to not be like order takers.
I agree. I have some other weird thoughts about sales, marketing, and CX, but that's for another conversation. I essentially think that people that will be successful at sales will have to become like sell marketers.
Yes.
Right. Like if awareness and POV is the thing that even establishes like the what if, almost like Inception. You do that well, so I don't know if you agree or not, but anyway, that's not what we're here to do.
Really quickly, that is where demand gen comes from. It was like, I don't point to marketing and say your job is to generate demand and my job is to close it. I think those years are totally freaking gone. Like I have to play a heavier hand in generating my own demand if I want to be effective.
You hear that, Matt? Somebody agrees with my insane theory that sales is becoming more marketing. Anyway, I think marketing is becoming more CX oriented. Anyway,
I love that.
Your second number, you're the first person. You're not the first person, but you did send me your numbers beforehand, which I appreciate. Your second number was 18, I believe.
Yeah.
8. I am going to just based off of what we just talked about. Yeah. I might be 2 for 2 here in a second. Is that the number of years you spent carrying quota?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. As a W-2 employee. Yes. You're so good at this.
Doing this research, this is like my 9th one of these. So I just want to make sure the research is right. Because it did say 18 years. I read several podcasts, transcripts. I did all of that. But was it 14 at Challenger or CEB and then 4 at... Like, how did that work?
Yeah. So the company I started at was CEB, Corporate Executive Board. That was probably the 14-year one. That got acquired by Gartner. So it looks like I worked at Gartner for a bit, but it was just through the acquisition. And then Gartner sold off the Challenger division to private equity, which is then Challenger. So it's just like the parent company I worked for shifted, but there are people I worked with on the same team for like 18 years. I just bopped.
That was confusing as hell. So 18 was like the total time. And I guess what you're saying, essentially, it was all really one company, but there were like 3. Okay.
Yeah, because
it went anywhere from 3 separate countries and 9 different continents. Like Jen has been all over the damn universe selling shit to people. 18 years carrying quota. Why is that such a, I feel like that's pretty obvious, but give me some better insight on why that's so significant as to how that defines you.
Yeah, I think in sales, there's this like assumption that, you just want to get out of individual contributor and move into management and then become a leader and then become a CRO, right? And that path was just never attractive to me. One, because it's such a fundamentally different job than being a salesperson. I still love when you have that like light bulb moment with a prospect. And that was always the thing that I kept coming back to. Like, I love that moment. And how can I get as many of that? But I think sometimes there's this pressure that like, well, what are you, a loser if you don't want to move up into management? But the idea of sitting there and like, one, spending a lot of time in spreadsheets and forecasts, that didn't sound attractive to me. But also just knowing myself really well, the idea that like, you have people on your team and if they're having problems, whether it's at work or at home, like I would have a really hard time, I think, stepping away from that. And when I did do like a manager coverage thing when one was out on leave. And sure enough, I would like have a hard time sleeping because I'm like, what if he doesn't find a way to make plan? What if I have to put him on a PIP? Like, what if he doesn't cut it? He's got kids. And like that stuff felt way harder to me than like, what if someone doesn't buy this quarter and I have to go find another deal?
Yeah, I have been there. That's the weirdest part to me. I kind of took, in a former life, I kind of took the top performer to manager track, which is, happens, probably not the best idea, but I had the same initial massive problems because all the people that were my colleagues and I knew a lot about and how they were doing and what they were going through and all this other stuff, I'm now, they're beholden to me, keeping them accountable. And so I guess your rectification was twofold. One, like knowing yourself well enough to know like that probably wouldn't be good for your psyche, mental health, performance, like a bunch of things. And then the other part of it was like loving the actual part of selling and the light bulb moments and helping people so much. Which one of the two things, which one do you think was more impactful in that decision to like not ever, I don't want to say move up the ladder because seems like it's not really the case, but I mean to move into management.
Yeah. Okay. We can call it whatever you want. I don't take offense to it. I think it was more like I got really great advice from a manager early on. That's like, when you're feeling stuck or when you're feeling like you want to leave a company, do an audit of like a week and say, what were the things that I was really looking forward to? And what were the things that I was dreading? This is how like I started my career in account management and then went to new logo sales. It was like, all of a sudden I was dreading all the like service related stuff. But then when I had a cross sell meeting, I'd get really excited about that. So that's been advice that has like stuck with me my entire career. And it's largely behind why I made any move I made career wise. Is just like, I think if you go where you're spending the most time doing the things that light you up the most, it's really hard to be miserable in a job. And if you stay there, like that's a choice you're making to stay unhappy. And so if you look at my career, even though I was with the same companies for a long time, you'll see like every 2 years, I kind of get the 2-year itch and I change my job. I change like the customers that I'm serving. I change something. I think that's also why I was able to stay a frontline seller for so long, is it wasn't like I was selling the same ball bearing for 18 years. It was like very different types of sales or types of customers.
You kind of just destroyed my next question, my number.
Yes.
So well done there. But I mean, I guess it means I was right on. So my next number is 1 for you.
1? Wait, should this be obvious?
Kind of, yeah.
1 job?
It was, yeah. I mean, this isn't a very good number. I'll give you the gong. I don't know if it just gong, so I'm going to play that means you got it right. I'm going to play that. So this needs a little caveat, right? 10 years at one spot. That was the deduction I made even before.
Oh,
right.
Okay, that works. I was going to say, because I've had different jobs.
Well, let me explain. Okay.
Go.
So 14 years, 18 years, really in the Challenger CEB Gartner family, since they were largely connected in some way. And you had, the research shows 8 different positions, right? Like there was movement within that time. So 18 years, when the average tenure of somebody is around 18 months, like a 1-to-1 ratio. I thought that was an interesting thing. So this is meant to be provocative. I feel like I know you well enough to where this, again, that shouldn't be insidious is the wrong word. It shouldn't be inflammatory. It's just thought-provoking. You built a career and you now teach people to overcome the cost of inaction when you yourself have spent your basically entire sales career in one spot. Some would argue that's possibly inaction. I think I would argue even with the changes inside of that cluster of, the same place you were, that you were moving around. And you just said that you enjoyed like the novelty, the newness. You moved from accounts to new logos, right? If I would just be interested. I don't really know what the question is, but how do you justify the two? I guess if I could put it in terms of a question, is there a protagonistic like nemesis of cost of inaction, which I would call the benefit of continuity, right? Like I assume that comes up a lot, and that's something that you have to reframe whenever you're trying to overcome cost of inaction and status quo. Is that something you experienced? I mean, there has to be some element of continuity benefit that, again, you yourself have experienced.
What a good question. No one has ever asked me before. So I think, pat yourself on the back. So I think one of the things with cost of inaction, and I'll tie this back to the career, is like I, as a salesperson, can't convince someone that they have a problem, right? I can only give them information, and then it's on them to decide with that information and the other information that they have, do they think the problem is large enough to change? And I think sometimes we overstep ourselves as sellers. Like I've never in my entire history of selling convinced anyone to do anything. It's their own personal choice to change. So I think if I look at the cost of inaction, there was a big fat cost of inaction of staying at one company for so long, which is had I left, I would have been able to get a massive salary bump to what I was getting by just getting merit increases and internal promotion increases. Like I literally could have left, gone somewhere for 6 months, come back and probably made 20K more than I was making in the same exact role. But when I weighed everything else around me, to your point about the benefit of continuity, I knew there was nowhere I was going to go where I was working with the caliber of people that I was working with. Like I learned an incredible amount just by like being near these other people and hearing their conversations. I knew that the product I had a ton of passion for. I knew that the brand I had built, I would have to start building that somewhere net new otherwise. So I think just like prospects do, I took all that information, I weighed it. There was a big fat cost of inaction. It just wasn't enough. If you think about like a seesaw compared to everything else, this other stuff kept me, even though that you would think as a salesperson that money would motivate me a lot more to leave.
Well, I think you just said it right there is like the term weigh routinely comes in front of cost of inaction. Like you have to weigh it versus, I've never heard it said like that either. And I don't know if that is a term or whatever, but like the benefit of continuity and staying with one spot. The follow up to this, and you can choose not to answer it, but we want to know more of how the real Jen, the non-sales Jen, employs some of these tactics. I'm a dad of 4. I am getting into the age where those types of things, legitimately the cost of inaction for my kid of not doing her homework almost resulted in her failing the grade that she's in now. So like, I'm interested to know if all of that has had a positive impact and like in what ways you apply those same tactics to, you know, like your family in your personal life. Like, do you use the same stuff? Maybe not like on your kids, you know, like whatever that is, but how has that helped you in other ways that aren't just sales or sales training related?
Yeah, I think like the thing I wish I learned earlier in sales that has like absolutely been the best learning I ever had is sales is just really deeply understanding human psychology, right? Like we as buyers don't operate different as we do as individuals. And so cost of inaction is grounded in this psychological principle called prospect theory, where like we as human beings are more likely to act to avoid a risk than we are to realize a benefit. So unless you're a degenerate gambler, if I walked up to you and said, here's $10,000, you could take it, or I'll put that on black. And if it's red, you get nothing. If it's black, you take everything. Most of us are going to take the 10 G's because it feels like we're losing something if it were to land on black. That's prospect theory in action. So that's not just like unique to a sales conversation. It's also very cognizant of the fact that like when you tell someone that they're wrong or you tell someone to do something, we are more likely as humans to get defensive versus if I actually lay out like, this sounds like this is actually a pretty good way to solve the problem. It's usually the other party that says, yeah, but there's these issues to it. So I think like those are 2 examples of places where those are human dynamics. They're not specific to sales. And so I think when I became a stepmom, I'd never been a parent, right? Like there's no guidebook to know how the hell to become a stepmom. Your tendency is to think like you lead by authority and do this, don't do that. But I realized very quickly, like that's not it. 1, I hadn't earned the trust. And 2, people don't like to be told what to do, whether you're 5 or 50. And so it taught me that like, it's a much better a way to engage is to help them think through the consequences that they might not be thinking of. But ultimately, it has to be their choice. You know, like even if I'm a parent, I don't get to boss them around or tell them what to do. Or I could, but they wouldn't listen.
I love that. I think only you could have made something that I just realized was a weird, like I'm a corporate sales trainer and SKO speaker. Here's what it taught me about being a stepmom. That's not the post, but you did really well. Not the best question by me. I agree 1,000,000,000,000,000% with the psychology thing. I've said this for a long time. Yeah. I love sales. I wasn't particularly good at all of the admin stuff, but the concept of like, even the terminology used with overcoming objection, like, you know, being trained with like trauma and behavioral therapy and all that, it just call it something else. Like, I understand the point. And it's just like, give them the chance to like make the decision themselves. Anyway, another separate show. We've got more of those. I know we're coming up on time soon. I know you have one more number and I have one. And for me, it's the most important one. It's also the coolest CTA if I'm going to work that in there. Your last number was what?
41.
I am determined that is your favorite Dave Matthews Band song.
No!
Damn it.
Finally lost one. No, I did love Dave Matthews growing up. I did.
That's for me. That is for me, not for you. Damn it.
No.
41.
41. Do you want to take another guess or do you want me to just tell you?
Well, I did have a second guess written down. That is my guess for the number in millions of followers you'll have on LinkedIn by the end of the year.
Yeah, no.
No? 2 no's?
Nope. It is how old I was when I first got married. And it's important to me because if I think about like women, like working women, I think a lot of times we have the struggle between like, do I choose career or do I choose marriage? And I definitely felt that. And I went very all in on career early on. But I speak to a lot of women who feel a lot of pressure of like, am I too late? And am I choosing the wrong thing? And so meeting a great husband who supports me and like has a family that I adore has been a huge blessing, but I don't think we should put as much pressure as we do on ourselves for the timeline. So that's why I picked it.
I cannot speak to that as I'm not a woman, but I do have a wife who is in sales and incredibly good at that. I know that's something that she's faced almost, I don't want to say indiscriminately because that's the wrong word, but there's certainly different sets of challenges when it comes to being a woman in a professional setting. Sure. I would say specifically in sales versus a guy. Is there any other thing that you've learned with that? And I ask somewhat ironically because of cost of inaction. Like I could apply that to like, it wasn't that big, I weighed all these things and you could apply that to that. But is there anything legitimate to that with like, there really was benefit of continuity of both? Because that was another part to the continuity concept from me being a parent and now you being a stepmom is like, that's not something that you can weigh. Like for me, you can ever weigh that there's anything that would allow you to step away from that or make a change. Yeah. It's really leaning into the continuity. Anything you could apply there?
I think for me, it was, I was a very different person when I was 27 in my first sales job versus now where I am in my life. And I look back on it as like, had I rushed it, had I gotten married sooner and had I prioritized that, I don't know if that would have been necessarily a good thing because I would have been looking for different things in a partner. And I think a partner probably would have been looking for different things in me. And so I don't feel looking back that it was a bad thing, but I do feel sometimes we are made to feel like it is simply because the timeline doesn't line up.
I've asked you that 2 or 3 times. For me, since I've asked the cost of inaction thing, the weighing part, I have a blended family, and the question kind of came up weirdly several times. Like, why aren't you in Atlanta? Why do you live in Jackson, Mississippi? Right? Like that is not inaction. That is intentionality. I choose to be here. Some may take it as like not advancing myself or not moving up or not make, whatever that might be. But what might be perceived as inaction sometimes is very intentional, strategic. Yeah. My last number for you, and then we can you can go see what Chungus is doing in the background there. It looks like he is having a problem.
He's on the floor back here. He's chilling.
Speaking of Chungus, 25 is my last number. 25%.
25%. Oh, you're gonna win. 25%. I don't know.
I just gave you such a big hint.
Chungus?
25%. Studies estimate that only 1 in 4 dogs in the U.S. was adopted from a shelter.
Oh my gosh.
So the other 3/4 came from breeders, pet stores, private sales, even as millions of shelter dogs are still, that's where they're at, right? So angle for me in the question is almost too stupid to say out loud. We help people adopt. I think I've mentioned to Matt one time, like if we were ever going to do anything actually creative, we should partner with Jen Allen-Knuth on how much we love adoption, because that's what we stand for. Who gives a crap necessarily about tech adoption, but what people will get is adoption of animals.
Oh, so, that's slick.
Right. Well, consider this my official pick. I don't know. Aside from that was like,
that's good.
I'm going to convince Matt to do this. The post on Saturdays, right? Like the way that you do that doesn't necessarily lead with that stat. Like maybe that's why you didn't know it. And I don't think that's necessarily as important as a picture, a story, professional photographs. Like, did rescue teach you more about sales, or did sales teach you how to get people to rescue?
Sales to rescue. What a good question. None of these questions I've ever been asked before, by the way, which I love. And the reason I say that is if you think about you remember like the Sarah McLachlan commercials, right?
I literally wrote down, do not say Sarah McLachlan on this interview. Don't say it.
Like if I ever heard that song come on and then that somber voice, I was always like, oh, change the channel. I can't watch it. Because it's like, I think sometimes even if we support the cause, it's like there's already so much to be sad about, especially living in the world today. It's like we just protect and guilt, right? We protect ourselves. We don't want to feel guilty. So we change the channel. And so I was really intentional when I started doing these posts. I was like, if I make every one of these posts a sob story, people are going to look away, because we often look away when there's tragedy, except for people that like first responders who run right in. And so knowing that, I realized if I just make these all so incredibly devastating, no one's going to like read them, which means no one's going to like them, which means these dogs aren't going to get seen. So instead I did the opposite. And I said, how do I show someone, like my goal is really to say, take my husband's photography, which is incredible, and say, look, what you think of a shelter dog is a dog that's shut down or angry or just like broken. And that's not the reality of shelter dogs. Most shelter dogs are really well adjusted, loving. They were in the wrong situation at the wrong time. And so it was meant to really change that perception that like you'd have to settle for a rescue dog versus like you can be as joyful, as excited as when you go to a breeder and adopt one. So,
it's a master class in all those things. I think if you had done that, you wouldn't be Demand Gen. You'd be the Sarah McLachlan of sales, which no one wants to be, right? Like you didn't hit your quota again. Arms of a pip, right? We don't want to do that. One more follow up before I let you get out of here. And it's kind of the same angle, right? It's about the Saturday things. It seems like an outbound campaign, but it's not. It doesn't have any predatory intent to it, and it doesn't guilt people. So it's really, again, if anything, it showcases how good Nicholas is at photography. Like even if you omit the dog stuff, it's like, by the way, this guy is freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. The question would be like, what does rescue have that sales needs more of, and vice versa? Like I would answer on your behalf quickly to say like, not the guilt, not the sob story, but showcasing the other parts. Is that kind of what you would say as well?
Wow, I like that. I would also say like a deep care for the customers. If you make dogs a customer, like they truly care about the well-being of the customer. And sometimes we lack that because we're so focused on our end goal.
I agree. Jen, I know you've got to get to soccer practice, or is it band practice or soccer practice?
It is a wax museum tonight for our 5th grader. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on Numbers Known. I appreciate it. I'm going to tell Matt that Jen thought it was such a good idea about adoption that her dog started barking in the background at the same time, and she had to mute herself so she wouldn't laugh and have Chungus yelling at me to get the hell off this call. Jen, you're the best ever. Everybody go and follow Demand Gen on LinkedIn, and I'll play you out. What an epic conversation. A lot of good stuff from that. I was pulling my hair out at me having something white on my shirt for the entirety of that interview and fumbling over some of the questions, but I will get better. I've only done 10 of these. Hopefully we'll do 10 more. I've got some insanely cool guests lined up. If you're watching, we're doing Tom Boston as an upcoming episode, who recently crossed the 80,000 follower mark. And we're also talking with Leslie Vanetz at the end of the month. Real quick, we'll take a break for this ad, quote unquote, that is really short video series we've been making following the journeys of a demand team that is struggling to find relevance in 2026. Here's Demand Daily.
Oh yeah, it's finished.
Nice. Last thing, Grant, did you remember to update all deals and finish tasks in HubSpot?
No, I forgot, Rob. I'll make sure it's updated by the end of the day.
Oh yeah, it's finished.
Nice. Last thing, Grant, did you remember to update all deals and finish tasks in HubSpot?
Yeah, Rob, you asked me that yesterday. I told you I'd get it done by the end of the day.
Oh yeah, it's finished.
Nice. Last thing, Grant, did you remember to update all deals and finish tasks in HubSpot?
The same things. Yeah, I got that done yesterday. I already put the due date in.
Did you remember to update all deals and finish tasks in HubSpot?
What is happening? They're saying the same things over and over again.
skills, finish tasks, HubSpot.
I'm stuck in a time loop. I'll never escape.
That's what we solve for. Don't know how to say it other than that. And I know that we want to get on to the actual non-hosted part of this that are the interesting conversations. Got one coming up. If you have ever been on LinkedIn outside your home, made a contact with another human being, or are between the ages of 3 and 105, you know who the next guest is. His name is Ryan Gunn, not to be confused with Ryan Quinn, who's also a friend of mine, fan. And more importantly, Ryan Gunn is now at First Touch, a company that is figuring out how to operationalize social, which is incredibly important, in HubSpot. They had a product release this past week to where you can now do that actually inside of HubSpot. I'm sure he's going to talk about that in his tech stack. Right now is Ryan Gunn. Check it out.
Okay. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Show Me Your Stack, where we sit down with operators to break down real tools they're using to fix real problems. Today, I am joined by the one and only Ryan Gunn with 2 N's. Get it right. The man, the legend that has Hubsessed. If you know anything of HubSpot, you've heard of him. It is Ryan, and I'm so excited to hear about his stack. If it doesn't include HubSpot, we'll see. Does it include HubSpot or not? We'll find out. Appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you, and welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah, Matt, thank you for having me. Actually, I've got a funny story about the gun with 2 ends. I was leaving inbound a couple of years ago, and I was late. I was late for my flight, running through the airport, and one of my coworkers at the time in Wingrove at Aptitude 8 yells at me across the airport. She saw me, and she just goes, "Gun!" And turns out the second "in" does not translate when you say it out loud. And I did get my bag pulled at security for no reason. They didn't find anything. I almost missed my flight, but I made it.
Unique issue for you alone that I didn't think. You don't realize it until you say it out loud. It's one of those. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Ryan, I really truly am welcome, man. I think I know a lot of people respect. They see what you build, and I know a lot of people are interested in the type of tools you're using. So I'm excited to talk about this. Sometimes people people have really boring choices, and you expect something crazy for them, but they're like, "Hey, I use the best." So I'm excited to see what you say. As usual, y'all know how it works. We go from 5 down to 1. I have no clue what he's about to say, so I'm excited to hear. Ryan or Gunn, what is your number 5 tool, man?
My number 5 tool is Ask Elephant. It's a meeting note taker. That is a really reductive description for what it does. But it takes transcripts and recordings from all of your meetings, and then allows you to do some really cool automations. It's got a killer HubSpot integration. And as we, move further and further into the AI era, I think meeting transcripts are by far the most valuable source of context that your business can have. So we try and leverage that to the fullest extent we possibly can.
Yeah, my understanding is, and Michael, one of the co-founders at First Touch, is famous, and I believe he's the only seller right now. And he's like, I run an autonomous CRM through Ask Elephant. Can you verify if that's correct?
He does love to say that. I would say it's a semi-autonomous CRM. There are some checks, but we've got some good stuff set up. We are updating deal stages based on call transcripts. We're updating properties. Michael has some automation set up around giving him follow-up emails to send after a meeting. We are pulling action items from every meeting and making sure we're staying on top of stuff. So it does a really solid job of taking a lot of that manual data entry off of our plates. There are still plenty of manual checks that mostly I am doing. So from Michael's perspective, it's pretty autonomous.
If it, I respect a lot of y'all's team. Is the first hire they made was a RevOps person, which is countercultural from pre. I don't know if it'll be post AI, but it is counterculture to pre AI, which is go to market engineering. RevOps is the most important function. So doubling down on that and keeping an autonomous CRM for the co-founder is probably very, very valuable. We use Ask Elephant internally. Love the tool, and can't speak highly enough of it. Tool number 4.
Tool number 4 is going to be kind of a boring one, but I've got good reasons for putting it on the list. It is Slack. Slack is where we do 100% of our communications, unless I'm getting an email like from to manage account settings from a software we use. I am pretty much not looking at my email at all. I'm in inbox 0 almost all the time, which is a really good feeling. And I think just email in general is kind of it's going the way of the dinosaur. When it comes to marketing, when it comes to sales, it'll stick around, but it is definitely less valuable than it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, because it's just been inundated with tons and tons of, AI SDRs reaching out to you, the newsletters that you didn't even sign up for that you somehow got on the list of. I mean, even on my personal email, I'm archiving like 75% of emails before I even open them. So it is one of my least favorite communication channels.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. It is the least favorite. I have 2 thoughts. What's your opinion on this? You're talking about continuous, because Slack is private access content, if you would. It's like a direct access person, but there has to be a buy-in from both sides.
Yeah,
so it's
gated channels.
It's a gated channel. Newsletters are technically gated channels. It's just when well done. I actually read of the emails I read, they're only newsletters, just about. So here's my and I say is I don't run inbox 0 like I used to, because you get after Memorial Day, we're doing this for a weekend. We're doing this about a couple of weeks before this comes out. I had 553 emails, and about 5 of them were I needed to read.
Yeah. I cleaned mine out this morning. I am across 3 different inboxes. I'm currently at inbox 10. I have 10 unread emails. They're all important. Everything else I got rid of.
Yeah. So your thoughts on this? You say Slack is the most important. Michael's on here, and he talked about Pylon.
Pylon.
Yeah. That
is
what
that's
maybe it's
definitely
going to be in your. Okay, it's like so. Talk about it. Does First Touch use? You say, hey, Slack is it? It sounds like you're using this for customers as well. It's like 100% of our communication. How important is it to your customer communication as a platform, not just internal? So we know Slack for, but external.
Yeah, it is across the board. It is internal, it's customers, it's partners. We spin up shared Slack channels with every customer, every partner. We use that tool that Michael talked about, Pylon, to push out broadcasts when we have product updates, when we have stuff that we want to share. We also have Slack hooked up to HubSpot and Ask Elephant and other places, so that we are getting, instead of those follow-up emails that Michael is getting after every sales meeting, instead of pushing them into his inbox, we are sending him those drafts in Slack. Action items are being pushed into Slack.
Do y'all do updates via Slack as well? Because example, we do, and I just thought about this. We're pretty militant, if you would, about recap emails, like sending a recap email. I've never thought, it's just hitting me. I don't know what I thought about it, but like sending recap Slack messages. Is that something
exactly?
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, we follow up via Slack. If there's any opportunity to send a Slack instead of an email, that's what we're doing it. And it is, the real unlock for me has been just all of the other things that I can push into Slack as a task, as a notification, instead of having to go to another platform. So a great example of this, any of the manual engagement reminders that we are pushing through First Touch. Go comment on somebody's profile. I'm getting that as a Slack message. It's got a link to their LinkedIn profile. I can go, very quickly execute on it without needing to jump back and forth between a bunch of different platforms.
Got it. And I like the comment and the idea. It kind of speaks about the principle. Anything that could be an email, every opportunity that could be an email, that could be that is an email, that could be a Slack message, we default there as a thought. I have not thought in that way, so it's just interesting to think about the way. Okay, tool number 3.
Tool number 3 is a big part of how these other tools are talking to each other, which is Claude.
Ooh, Claude as not number 1. This is what I like. Anytime anybody they'd like to say this, I'm very interested in number 1 too now. So tell me, how are you using my girl Claudia?
Claude is my favorite. Like, if there are 3 platforms that I live in 90% of my day, it's Claude, Slack, and HubSpot. So that might be a little spoiler for further up my list, but there is so much stuff that you can do with Claude now, with MCP connectors, with co-work, scheduled tasks. It is my favorite workflow that I've got set up right now. It's actually 2 workflows, one scheduled at the beginning of the day, one scheduled at the end. But it takes a look at the beginning of the day. It takes a look at my calendar. Any meeting I have on the calendar, it will look at context for that. It looks at previous Slack conversations. It looks at previous meeting transcripts from Ask Elephant. If there are emails, then it will check those out. And it will just give me a brief about, what do I need to be prepared for my meetings for the day. Then at the end of the day, there's a scheduled flow that grabs tasks. So it'll look at all of my transcripts from that day, all of my Slack messages, anything that I have verbally committed to doing, it pushes into a Slack canvas, and it keeps like a continuously updated running list of things that I need to get done, that I said I'd get done. It adds context to those so that I don't have to go find that every time I want to complete a task. But those 2 things together at the beginning and end of the day, really, they bookend the day in a way that allows me to leave work feeling like it's covered, like I did the things I need to do, and I don't need to do a ton of stuff, in the post-work hours to prepare for tomorrow.
I love that. And there's so much more with Claude. You're like scratching the surface.
Yeah, I know that's the most basic of the things.
And I just learned something. So I have the same exact thing that goes. I call it my chief of staff daily briefing. It's all events I do at the beginning of the day. But I have it inverted, and I think I'm going to change it. I'm going to try how you have it. I then have another one that's the exact same time as my event, telling me everything that I'm supposed to do for the day. But the issue has been it loses some relevancy and some context. But I might invert this to say, hey, do that at the end of the day, like you have it. It captures more, and I wake up and I literally have the same thing. I have something called Task Board that works in Google, but it's a canvas and it just makes all the tasks so I can create them. But I found that the time in between not doing it at the end of the day creates some lag. So I like the idea. I really like the idea. So beginning of the day, end of day, because guys, if you aren't doing this, just do it. Just do it. And you're like, well, how do I do it? Literally ask Claude. I want to create bookmarks, all meetings, then, and it will tell you what to do. What's one thing you've done with Claude? And this is number 3. I'm just crazy. Have you done with Claude that has changed how you do your relationship with work, or a function you didn't expect it to take that has taken from you and help right now?
A big part of it is I didn't expect it to be a place where I stored a lot of context. I was connecting it to a bunch of different places. And I think the idea of a source of truth is kind of becoming outdated, because everything is just providing context, and you need to centralize it in a way. I kind of viewed Claude as like, oh, Claude is the place where it will grab context from everywhere. I've started using it more as a place also to store different kinds of context, creating markdown docs of my writing style for newsletters or LinkedIn posts, creating just like knowledge around what my role is, what active projects I'm working on. And what I found is that when you have all of that stuff in an easily accessible way where you can just call on that specific piece of context, it makes it so much easier to leverage the external context where you can say, grab my transcripts from Ask Elephant today and identify if there are any good opportunities for, good ideas for LinkedIn posts based on my post history that I imported as a markdown doc. Then write a post using my style guide, which is a markdown doc. And that is something that I never used any other AI like that before. I would be pushing context into it. I would be uploading stuff into it or connecting it, but never as a source itself.
Yeah, I love this is another use case. I actually have not changed this, and this is a good reminder to do it, which is I used to, because we do the word butt ton, probably too strong, but we do a lot of LinkedIn content. And I caught when someone's starting in Super, they're asking me, hey, Matt, do you expect me to put content? I said, yes, I do. And they're like, well, there's no way I can create this much content. I'm like, you are totally underestimating yourself. You are a content machine. Yeah. Every meeting you're in, every time you're talking, you have so many great ideas. You just have to stop in the moment and write it down. And that's the discipline. And then like what Ryan just said is a hack. I don't use the word hack often, but it's like use this, like have the conversations you're having, have them put somewhere, and then have a judgment, which AI is really good at, be able to judge this is good content. And then it works to the flow of your markdown with your language and your history. If you're not doing that, I need to do that. Thank you for the reminder, Ryan. Like what a great idea. What a great idea. And you see how it kind of all works together. It's got to be in Slack. You need Ask Elephant. You need Claude. Okay. Okay. What's number 2? I think one of these is going to be HubSpot. I'm going to be interested which one it is. What's number 2?
Number 2 is indeed HubSpot.
Oh.
It is what I've built my career around over the past decade plus. I use it every single day. I've used it in every single job that I've had since I was in grad school. And it continues to be my daily driver.
Okay, Ryan, I'm going to ask you, because a lot of people here know, HubSpot's a CRM, and its most singular use case, it's a CRM. Talk to me. You still put this number 2, you put it above Claude, and the SaaS apocalypse is here. So kind of help me understand for everyone here, help me understand why HubSpot's number 2 and how you interact with this idea of the SaaS apocalypse and the CRM, and why you still keep this number 2. I think this will be very helpful for people.
I think the SaaS apocalypse is, at least in terms of enterprise grade B2B SaaS, I think the SaaS apocalypse is overhyped. If you've ever, if you've ever used a vibe coded tool, you know that errors pop up left and right. It is not the type of thing where you just build it once and you're good to go. So with something as complex and as business critical as a CRM, you can't afford to have those errors popping up, and you will lose deals if your sales reps run into an error and they can't record the context they need to, or they can't get back to someone as fast as they need to, or they don't have insights surface to them that they should have had. So I think the companies that are posting on LinkedIn and getting a ton of engagement when they're saying, we replaced HubSpot with a vibe-coded CRM, 10 times out of 10, you click on their profile and it's like a 3-person company. And that makes sense. Like that does make sense for their company. I would agree. But if we're talking about mid-market, enterprise level businesses, not a chance. HubSpot's got scalability, it has security, it has support, it's got a partner ecosystem. That is all stuff that you can't vibe code.
Yeah, I'll go, or SMB. I mean, I know we said SMB. I want two things here. Just I agree with everything Ryan said. And to add to this is tokens are cheap and subsidized, and they will get more expensive. And the ability to maintain, not only is I just want to be like the only people who think they can. I was one of these people, so I can speak from this. If I was a service company right now, there's no doubt in my mind, I would be claiming I could vibe code things because it sells. However, that would be from naivety and ignorance because I've never run a SaaS company. I have now, and I can tell you, guys, you don't know what you're talking about.
It's so hard.
Yeah, because it's just there is a giant leap between services and app that I had no respect for, zero respect for, and you can't unless you're doing it, or people are going to have respect for it now. So that's number one. Number two is we're subsidized token usage, and it's just going to be really expensive to keep these up. It's going to be the same price. I mean, that's what they're going to be the same price as a senior engineer or a junior engineer. So I think we're coming to it's called a gravity, guys, and it exists.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing that happened when Netflix, started taking market share away from cable, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's so cheap, and I can watch anything I want whenever I want." And now it's like you have to have Netflix, and you have to have Peacock, and you have to have Apple TV, and Hulu, and Disney Plus, Prime Video, and now you're just paying for a cable package again.
It is literally a cable package under different brands, and the functionality has completely changed. You have instant access in a way you didn't. However, it's ubiquitous, and that is actually ubiquitous distributed across different content creators. So, same thing's happening. Okay, I'm gonna go down this because I see it. We're going to the big finale. If you're like Michael, who's on the show, he said first touch, which I applaud. I applaud that being number one. You have number 5, Ask Elephant. Number 4, Slack. Number 3, Claude. I'm going the opposite way, but number 2, HubSpot, and number 1, Jumpy.
Number 1 is indeed First Touch.
Woo! I knew it was gonna happen. I was like, I love the consistency. Is the people who use First Touch proclaim it is number 1. Explain to me, justify to me why First Touch is the number 1 tool for you in your stack.
Yeah, I left this off of the list when I mentioned the platforms that I'm in all day, every day, because I wanted to keep the mystery alive. But yeah, it is indeed First Touch. And actually now I'm not in platform in First Touch as much as I was because we just launched native action cards for workflows. So you can build out LinkedIn automation in a HubSpot workflow. I don't have to switch platforms and go into First Touch as much anymore. There's still some very cool functionality that you can only do in the First Touch Flow Builder just because of the limitations of how HubSpot's Flow Builder handles things like actions being queued, which is something that you need with LinkedIn because it's a rate limited channel. So you can only send a certain number of connection requests and messages per day. There is so much complex logic going back to the idea of being able to vibe code stuff. There's so much logic that goes into how do you queue that stuff out and prioritize it and execute it, in a way that is not only pleasing to the user, but also doesn't totally spam your customers. That HubSpot's workflow builder isn't built to handle and shouldn't be and wouldn't be. But between the two, there are so many cool things that you can do with HubSpot and First Touch.
Ryan, what I wish is First Touch would auto collect signals and likes and people that have engaged with my content and built that into a list that was like signal based and then automate it through flows. That would be awesome. Hope that. Oh, aren't y'all doing that?
You may have read our product update, our update notes from yesterday, because that is brand new functionality.
Wow.
I
I
have
don't
been
read product notes, but I'm telling you, I'm getting hit. Answer is that's freaking awesome. And if anybody hasn't touched it, y'all should go use that now. I'm excited. And we're going to be talking about it next. By the time we have already done a webinar about this, how awesome.
Yeah. I that flow, that functionality is the reason that I joined First Touch. It is a thing that I had been trying to build out myself for years. It had been really hard to get the combination of things, which are strong LinkedIn automation functionality, context from your CRM, and scraping of that those engagement signals, the people who like and comment on your posts. I was needing to use at least 3 different tools.
Yeah. We're doing it right now. I'm trying.
And they didn't talk to each other.
Yeah, and it's Trigify. I mean, just to say it out loud, I'm trying to do this right now, and it's Trigify, Clay, and Phantom Buster. Like trying to list all 3 of these to get the context into Clay,
and that's not including HubSpot, which has and then all of the valuable information.
Yeah, so I get 4. We do this, and I'm excited to not do that. I don't know. It's just it's like very difficult.
One tool.
Okay. Just with time, this is a longer one because it's the Gunn, and I want to hear what are new and upcoming tools that are exciting to you. We can run through it pretty quick. What's 1 or 2 that you find interesting that you want to tell people about?
The one, I'm late to the game on this, but it's new to me. I just started playing around with Lovable this past weekend, and I literally the only reason I did it is because in LinkedIn Premium, I clicked on, what are my benefits? I had never even looked into what it was. And they were like, oh, you get a year of Lovable.
For free?
Yeah. I mean, you have to pay for tokens, but they give you a good chunk of tokens. I've burned through about 3/4 of them this weekend, but it is a year on their light plan. Just enough to test something out to build really build out one thing. But I've been playing with that, and I know you can do pretty much all the same stuff through Claude Code, but I am a huge fan of just usability, and Claude Code is just a little bit more of a technical hump than I want to put myself through. So Lovable makes that really easy, and I built out, this is the nerd in me coming out. I built out a tracker for my Magic the Gathering group, so we can track all of our games that we play. It's got a stats dashboard. You can manage your decks. It is really fucking cool.
I was gonna guess. I was gonna have you stop for a second. I was gonna guess what you're tracking because usually the best use cases are actually often not business. I think Lovable. Yes. I think we were actually going to make a lot of money with personal usages, not business usages, honestly, because I think what we talked about further. Just a note, I used to be a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player, and I never was smart. I never crossed over smart enough in it to do Magic the Gathering. So one day, Ryan, maybe you can convince me.
I'll teach you. I'll bring a deck to Inbound.
Yeah. Oh, Unbound. Yeah. We're going to have, you heard it here. It'll be the First Touch and Super Magic the Gathering party at Unbound. Come, we will. It'll be great. Well, Ryan, thank you for spending time with us and telling us. Is there any an up and coming Hubsessed follower, person that's using HubSpot in the ecosystem? If you had any piece of advice as they're thinking about tools and looking at stuff, what would you tell them?
There are a couple of things. One, we're in a weird era where entry-level jobs are being taken over by AI, and entry-level jobs are where you learn. That's where you develop the foundational skills that you build your career upon. So look for ways to learn. If you're not being offered those through your job, if you're having trouble finding a job, learning, I think, is your best friend. That is something that I try to offer through my LinkedIn content, but also through Hubsessed, where we have courses, we have boot camps. You can sign up. It's a just flat monthly fee, and you get access to everything. And then I also got to shout out First Touch. Sign up, get an account, firsttouch.com. It if you are in marketing or sales, it is going to dramatically change the way you approach your social media strategy, your social selling. It just makes things so much easier in a way that I have understood that it would be nice for years. And now I am actually getting to take advantage of it and like eat our own dog food. And it works. It makes life so much simpler.
I don't know if the marketing team, i.e. Ryan Gunn, at First Touch would appreciate this, but to put it in a language that I understand easily, it's hey reach for HubSpot. And more. I just like, for me, easy for me. It can rip and replace hey reach, and it's more friendly in the HubSpot ecosystem. Okay, guys. Which is, again, that's dumb talk for me. I appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you for spending time for us, man. If people want to reach out, what's the best way, besides subscribing to Hubsess, which everyone here has already done? What's the next best way to get in touch with you and chat with you?
Best way is send me a DM on LinkedIn. I am always hanging out there. And I am better at responding to LinkedIn DMs than I am at responding to emails.
As we all should be. Yes. Well, Ryan, appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming by. Everybody stay awesome. Keep doing it big and never stop believing. Adios.
That was Ryan Gunn, not to be confused again with Ryan Quinn. 2 N's. I cannot imagine the airport fiasco. That's like saying hello or hi to your friend Jack at an airport. We'll get you banned. Probably have security come and shut things down. Shout out to Ryan for that and First Touch. Admin Arena Season 2 is underway, and we are releasing, I say we, Cameron, the Admin Arena squad are starting to make it through the season and start to release some of those soon. So you got to stay tuned and in touch with what's going on there. It's reality TV, but for people who are really smart and use HubSpot. That is a thing. We're going to make it watchable. And so as a tribute to that and being on LinkedIn and First Touch, here's another Demand Daily quick clip episode. One of our editors had a really cool idea for something that you could do with Super that's not just process rules, process enablement. He may not be with the company longer than he is after this. Here you go. You are killing it. Thank you for that. Before we have one more thing, but before that, Grant, you said you wanted to show us something that you built.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this, guys. I know Super is the #1 sales enablement app on G2, and it's in the top 5 sales tools, and it works natively in HubSpot. It allows reps to work wherever they are in the flow of work. But what if Super could be in LinkedIn? There's Waldo. Here's all our team content. It's following me. And then here's all of our gifts. I have access to them anytime I want to send a message. So it's almost, Super helps you follow a process. But what if the process followed you?
You're going to get us fired. All right, Grant's no longer with the team, so we're going to move on to something useful. Grant's still with us. He's just on vacation this week in Disney, I believe. Anyway, we are now moving on to another episode we have. This one is for operators and people with service agencies about the story of how they scaled. Guest today, Matt ran this one, is Sara Hanlon, and you should tune in. Check it out.
So, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Fast and Furious, where I talk to HubSpot solutions partners that are scaling and perhaps just tiered. Today, I'm talking to Sara Hanlon of Appear, a sales agency, who claim to fame is, what she likes to say, is the marketing team your salespeople actually like talking to, love, and don't hate. Sara, welcome. Thank you for the time today.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Welcome. Well, what the catalyst for being here is y'all just hit platinum. It is not easy on any of the tiers, right? Any of the tiers. And what I like to do is like tell these stories because we are stronger together. One of the things I want to note is first, what everybody has their own unique journey. They're often pretty crazy. What made you start a agency and then join HubSpot and decide to be a partner?
Yeah.
What led you to where you are today?
Yeah.
Big question. I think you got it.
Okay. So I started an agency because I actually started in sales. So my journey in like career started in sales, smiling and dialing. Like in the early 2000s, we used Telemagic as our CRM. Like I'm dating myself big time.
Tell us. So you ruined cold calling. Is what you said. One call at a time, one list at a time.
Yeah, baby. Get a list, hammer the phone, get people to buy from you. That was me. And so then I moved from that role, was in that role for a long time, went on to lead a sales team and then an inside sales team, and then went into product marketing. Left that organization, was a healthcare manufacturing company, left that organization, went to a digital marketing agency. And that's where we used HubSpot. This is like 2010, like right after it was getting used. Yes.
Yeah, that's 2010-ish is they're raising grounds, but that's
Yeah.
they don't even go as a CRM yet.
No, they're not. It's marketing automation all day. So so we used it as an agency, and then after I left that agency, I became I went and led a revenue team, a sales and marketing revenue team, which at that time was like, nobody does that.
So you were a CRO before they called.
I was.
They call you.
He called me a CRO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They asked me what I wanted to do, and I was like, I want to be a chief revenue officer. They were like, what title do you want? Do you want CMO or chief sales officer? And I was like, no, I want chief revenue officer.
Ooh, okay. So you didn't go, okay.
Yeah.
Slice it in the middle.
Yeah. And so that firm, I brought HubSpot into it. And then after I was like, okay, here's how you set this up. Like, here's how you bring this to an organization. Here's how you get your sales team running on it. Here's how you get your marketing team running on it. Here's how you bring the two together. Like, this is how this should work. And after working there, I was like, I should do this. Like, we should build an agency around this. So that's what we did. So left that organization, and that became Peer. And really, like, the reason we say, Peer is the marketing team that your salespeople love is because we started in sales, a lot of us on our team. But we know how to blend, like, sales and marketing need each other. Like, they actually, to be profitable, to hit your numbers, to do all the things you need to do, you actually need to work together towards a common goal. And so that became our claim to fame, is how do you bring, so our ICP, like who we target, are VPs of sales and marketing, chief revenue officers, chief sales officers, because we understand what it means to carry a quota, like what it means to sell, and how marketing needs to support that goal. And so that's like, when we started Peer, we were like, that just became our de facto system that we brought in because it did such a nice job of bringing those two sides of the coin together. And then we didn't join, like, we were just recommending it. We're like, hey, you should get HubSpot. And then.
So what year did y'all start?
2008. Or sorry, 2018. We started.
I was like, yes. I was okay.
No,
so
2018.
2018, you were a CRO, implemented HubSpot, did hard things, did big things. Hey, I pretty sure I could just sell this because
everybody needs this.
Everybody needs this.
Yeah.
Start in 2018, and you're selling the function of supporting the sales team, and you're not
the foundation. Here's what you need.
So what made you decide? When did you standardize on HubSpot?
About, let's see, it's 2026. We were recommending HubSpot, but when we fully joined the partner program and really embraced it was 2021, maybe 2022.
So you're telling me becoming a HubSpot partner was a COVID baby for you? That's
Kind of, 100%.
So,
100%. We were like, let's do this.
let's do this. Yeah. Well, so 2022, you go all in on HubSpot. And what made you decide? That's 4 years in between those. Like those 4 years. What made you decide that it was time? And are you doing this by yourself? Or are you with a team of people?
We have a team. Yeah, we even then had a team. Primarily at that moment, right? It was all about foundations, like getting that revenue operation system in place. But really, it was about bringing marketing into these sales teams. These sales teams wanted to grow, and they had been using marketing intermittently. We work with mid-sized manufacturing, professional services companies, technology a lot of times. But a lot of times, those are very sales-led organizations. And they saw marketing as a thing that maybe they should be doing to grow, but it was more in a very intermittent situation, right? And not consistently doing that.
Where's my trade show list?
Right. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm getting ready for a trade show. I should really get a new, like, I need new banners.
Yeah.
Just random stuff like that, right? And so primarily our team was creative team and then some HubSpot and sales support team. And then once, I mean, really, like, I would say when we fully embraced HubSpot and we became like, all right, we're all in on going from just having a partnership, like being a gold partner. At the time, you could still even be silver, I think. But like really getting into what would it mean to level up was actually, I mean, I think we saw the possibility of it, but we got really lucky. Like we got a really great PDM, Emily Price. She's amazing.
Yeah, I think we, if you go back to them, they weren't called PDMs at that point. They were
No.
PDMs. So you got a great cam.
Yes, I had a great cam.
Okay, so so you join there. That is the benefit of being a partner, is you get a PDM now PDMs that help you think about to grow your business and are in some way rewarded for when their partner sets do well, so they care about you.
Yeah.
So let's just say okay. So you decide 2018 to start, 2022 to start, and then and now you're here.
Now we're here,
which is platinum. Which essentially every year they've made it harder to get these things.
Yes.
So you've probably been almost platinum for a hot second. What's changed about 2022 and now? And what are, just getting into like building of the business, like what are the three main obstacles you had to overcome and think about to move where you're now platinum? You're able to achieve platinum and do the work and sell and serve the clients you have at that capacity.
I'm going to say systems. So, you know, it's one thing to just hire people and just throw bodies at a problem, right? Let's just keep hiring people and just everybody bring in your intelligence and just do what you do. But when I would say the 2023, the end of 2023, we had 22 people on staff, full-time employees on staff.
Wow.
And we were not profitable because we just kept hiring all these people, experts, you know, in. Yeah. And then they're really, like, we had an overall system, like there's an overall process of how you get from stage to stage for the client, like front facing for the client, but back of the house was not really systematized. And so Crystal Mackling, my business partner, is an operationals. She's just so good at it. And she was like, we need to put a system in place. Like, we need to systematize this.
So when you say the word system, it seems just me hearing, hey, we were able to generate leads, and a 22-person organization is not a small agency. I mean, that's bigger than a lot of the agencies I chat with on this, especially at Platinum, for example.
Yeah.
And So you're going as you say, we need to systematize.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Is that selecting it may mean all these things. See, often people are doing people, process, and platform, right?
Yes.
But where was the system off? Is it? Hey, this one tool was the thing we fixed. So what was the biggest and the hardest thing about creating the system?
Yes.
You had to do something. 22 people and having it, hiring and firing and serving.
Oh.
And paying. You had systems. Like what was it? Like what was the thing?
The biggest thing was at that point we had, there was a set number of projects, right, that contributed to the overall goal or outcome our client was trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. But every individual team had free reign to kind of run their projects the way they wanted to run.
Got it. So when you say that, I hear, so tell me if I'm wrong. That's how often we communicate, what systems we use to deliver, if we're using Google Docs or something else.
Totally.
Just free reign. It's like, hey, get the end state, make them happy. And okay.
Yep. And truthfully, like even tactics within the outcome, right? You could pick 10 to 15 tactics within there to make that outcome work for you. And now we're going back and saying, what are the outcomes we're actually trying to achieve for these clients? And then reverse engineer that to say, okay, if this is the outcome we're after, these are the tactics that make up that outcome that are going to help them achieve that goal. So not only is it purely a Asana, project management, like all those things, right? And by the way, now that has also changed even more with the introduction of AI supported tools, right? Each of these tools is also leveling up within them. But it also is, what are we really, really good at? And how do we systematize the offering around what we're really, really good at? What are the core, what are those tactics and strategies we're going to employ? What's our discovery process to sell it? What's our onboarding process to get them on board and set expectations? What's our cadence to meet with them to deliver the results of this thing? All those things, those fundamental components of that. What does that look like? There's an overhaul,
Yeah, this sounds like I have. I hear this over and over again as I'm talking to.
I bet.
And this is the first one. Often at this stage, and I say this stage, you're like bigger. And I think you're into HubSpot. Y'all do more than just HubSpot.
We do, yes,
a lot more. Mm-hmm. Or you wouldn't have 22 people of revenue, like wherever you're at now.
Right.
It is, I call it name it or frame it, name it, claim it, which is what problem do we solve?
100%. What's
the name of our methodologies? If I had to guess, you also called we're peerless. There's like the word peer. I don't know what it is, but the peerless methodology. And then you claim. And if we do it this way, and what's beautiful, once you have your offering simplified, then you have your delivery. You can train people the same way. You can have to use vernaculars, and still there's going to be a little bit of what do you do? But there's a methodology, so you can even judge. Hey, are you doing it the peerless way, or that?
Yes.
I'm making that up. I don't know if you'll call it that, but are you doing it the peer sales agency way? Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you? Just like with if you were to boil it down like 2 sentences, how did you do it?
How do you boil down 6 months of your life?
That's good. I mean, 6 months of 80-hour week. How did you do it?
Truthfully, what we did was we looked at our best use case, our best case studies, right? These are the clients that are getting the best results running through this program that we have. What have we done for them? Let's reverse engineer what worked for them. Let's reverse engineer how much time it took. We are really good at time tracking. We are really good at tracking our historical information to say this is how much this thing cost us to deliver. So those are 2 things we had going for us before and after. So we could do that historical analysis to say, here are some case studies that are working really, really well. Let's reverse engineer what we did for them and then make that the model, and then understand how much it actually cost us to deliver those things so that we can then set up the common curriculum framework that we are going to apply moving forward.
Okay. Those are great 5-sentence summary. Approved.
Sorry.
Yeah,
that was a longer one.
No, but that was good. That was actually really good. I think people
Yeah.
hear it. It's not easy to sympathize. I love, and this is true about SaaS companies. It's true about service companies.
Right.
What are the people that stay with you the longest and are the happiest? What did you do with them? Are there any commonalities?
Yeah.
What is
That's why we narrowed in on professional services and manufacturing.
And that's why it's you start where you say we do manufacturing and professional services, and sometimes
Yeah.
What was number 2? What was a big to get this? We had systems problem. Systems problem was a offering plus delivery that you just needed to have a more narrow focus on a specific niche with case studies. What's number 2?
I mean, I bought out my business partner, and I started with I had another.
This is real. So you had a business partner you probably started with in 2018.
Yep.
And it is running a business is hard.
It is.
Sometimes
you lose. Like this is not a knock at all on my business partner, my former business partner. It is purely this business is not. You got to have passion for this business, and it's an up and down business.
Yes.
And so that requires a lot of energy. It requires a passion for what this is and wanting to continue to do that thing.
Yep.
And I have it. Like agencies have had a tough go, right, for the past 18 months or whatever. And part of that is just the world, and part of that is AI. But I actually look at this and I'm like, there's so many great opportunities. Like I'm energized about where we're headed. That's not true for everyone. And so that's okay. It's just a matter of aligning on where are we going and are we both in that spot.
Yeah, I think we're actually in the age of services. I think there's more.
Agree. I feel like there's a huge, like we're changing how we talk about, like what we do. The core of what we do is still the same, but how we talk about what we do and how we enable sales and marketing teams and now client service teams, how we enable them to do what they need to do. It's more valuable.
Yeah, I think for first-time agencies, it used to be the idea of full funnel for marketing, but now it's full, whatever the word is. It's marketing, sales, and customer service, and it's the full journey. And you could do it now in ways you couldn't. It was just more difficult. You can see more. You can do more. It actually takes more knowledge.
Yes.
Because when everything's possible, it's called the commons, the tragedy of the commons, right? When the marginal effort is zero, everyone does it, and it makes everything else harder.
Yes.
You now need something even better to even be average, and that's where companies have a big win.
I think so.
Okay, I'm passionate about that specific topic.
Same.
For better or worse. Okay, second.
So those are the 2 things.
Well, we said 3. I like 2; those are good. But go deeper on the second one, just because. I've started agency before. I've had a partner, and so I know. And I left. Like I'm the other end. Like I'm now in super, right? So I understand it, and I just was like, these things can happen amicably.
Yeah,
they can happen well, and it's not. And sometimes it's what's best for both people.
Yes.
And sometimes it's right. So I applaud the courage. I'm sure that was not easy for either person. No. However, it can be better afterwards when done well and deliberately.
Yeah, and I'm lucky, like Crystal Mackling, who's my now business partner, was with us from nearly the beginning. So she was along for the journey. I was really lucky to have her to kind of still, because I'm not sure I'm a solo founder kind of girl.
I'm not. So
I'm not.
I'm not a solo founder girl. I'm also not a solo founder boy.
You like a partner. You like a team.
Yeah, I like a team. Yeah.
Same.
This is good. Yeah, we started when I did Rev Partners. We started that with
Oh yeah.
with a partner, and it'd been impossible without Brendan to do what we did. And it would
Yeah.
and I'm here with another part co-founder. I can't speak highly enough about co-founding or partners.
Yes.
But you need to get married, and you need to you need prenups, if you would.
Yes.
Yes, because you just got to on those.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, that's a story for another time.
Yeah, I feel like I just want there's more here on both sides we can keep talking about. Okay, so you've been through a journey.
Yeah.
2018, 2022.
Yeah.
HubSpot. We were partners. Gold, platinum. It has a different feel. You have a different thing. There's
different expectations.
Different expectations. Y'all know our system. There's a lot that has changed. It seems like that's allowed you now to have a focus, and you're hitting platinum.
Yeah.
What is, Sarah? What is your bet to that's going to let you get to diamond? So, like, what's the bet? Like, what's the thing you're betting on it?
Yeah. Ironically, we're actually in the process of building our diamond plan right now. So this is very timely.
Yeah. It's like Lady Luck. We like to, get the diamond. Diamonds.
Yes.
Yes. Give me it.
I love that diamond.
Yeah.
So a couple things. I actually I hired a woman who was at an elite agency. So that also helps, because then she's got that context of like, hey, this is what that looks like. Mm-hmm. So that's a big bet. The other bet I have is really leaning into two things. One, the HubSpot offerings for platinum and above, right? It's like this unlock that happens. And so I'm really leaning into those offerings that pop up when you tier up, and I know there's more at Diamond, and I know there's more at Elite. Like, I know all those things happen at those different stages, but when you get to Platinum, that's the first time you really see the unlock of things. And so I'm leaning in on that. I'm also leaning into the ecosystem. Like, we are amazing at foundation, revenue ops strategy, how you get your teams aligned, like setting up that foundation. We're really good at that. We're really good at helping organizations that haven't had as much marketing support in the past build that muscle and build that rhythm around what does it actually mean to run go-to-market on an ongoing basis as part of your revenue ops strategy. So that's what we're really, really good at. That means there's a ton of other partners out there in the ecosystem that fill other gaps that I need. And so leaning into that ecosystem and finding those partners that help fill some of those gaps, that is something I'm also betting big on, is like, how can you help me serve my client? How can we all win? Right?
Yeah. We, there's some, I don't know what they're called, consortiums of a sort. There's, I know we have some super partners I work with that use, that do that exact same thing. They're like, go to market, and hey, we don't do this. You do this. We're not breaking this wall. Have been really successful doing it.
Yeah.
So I like it. Question, as we're getting to end, is I like to say this. If you were talking to yourself, we're talking like in 2018, ish, maybe 2019. What's one thing that you would tell yourself? Hey, Sarah, don't do that. Like, either do this thing earlier or never. Like, don't do this thing. I did it. Never do it again.
Oh, never do that again.
Or do this thing earlier. Yeah, it can be either.
I would have I would have looked at our. Hindsight's 2020, right? That's tough. I do think, I wish we would have, instead of continuing to just hire more people to solve a problem, I think I would have said, hey, we have these use cases that are working really well. Let's track what we're doing for them and then reverse engineer that back. I wish I would have operationalized that better. We would have gotten to our profitability. Like, we're very profitable now and have been since we made that change. And I wish I would have done that sooner.
Yeah.
But that's hard, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're early, you need revenue. Like you've got to be focused solely on just get more revenue in the door, and so you don't work as much on the ops side.
Yeah, there's a natural transition. So anybody that comes and says there's riches in the niches and you need to do that, like, reality is they're right.
They are right.
They are right, and what they're missing is you need to go be a mosquito and suck everyone's blood to live, because
I love that.
Because you need revenue and you need to become bigger. I don't know. So there's a reality of you don't know what is best for you. You don't know what you're going to be good at. You don't know who you jive with. Some people really like working with manufacturers. Some people are like, I never want to talk to those sales-led orgs ever again.
Yes.
They're rude to me, and I like working with this. And you just don't. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And so I'm a big fan. Year, 6 months, like just the fact, just to make that cycle as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And then systemize.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wish we'd have done it sooner.
Well, all things happen for a reason.
Yeah,
and I believe that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, if people want to chat to you after this, what's the best way of getting in touch with you?
LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn. You guys can find me on LinkedIn. I talk about sales all the time. That's kind of my bag.
Sure thing. Well, you carried a bag. You had a quota, so you can talk about it.
I do.
Yeah.
That's right.
And now you kind of still have a quota, but yeah, it's like
I still do.
Because you own the business.
Right.
Appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And as always, stay awesome. Keep doing it big, and never, ever, ever stop believing. Adios, everybody.
See ya.
We're back, about to have another commercial. Thank you for that, Sarah. Pierre seems to be in good hands. It's always fascinating to me and shocking when people have that moment of clarity by being asked a question in a certain way that they may not have thought of. Matt's question about what would you tell yourself to do or not do, 8 years ago is interesting because you can't do that in reality. There's another interesting part about the great, what did Matt call it? The great, the tragedy of the commons. I think you can apply it to a lot of different things, outbound, email now. Before I depart into something that makes us all sad to think about, here is the final commercial. This is insane. I don't even know what to say about this, but we're going to play it. Hopefully it makes somebody stop to scroll and check out Super. I've got a couple points of feedback to make on some videos we recently did. One was a clip for a podcast. Wasn't really on brand as much as we wanted to, and just so we remember, feedback is a gift.
Rob, speaking of feedback, do you do something different with your face today?
I've been trying. Have you heard of looks maxing? Been trying this new thing. Does it work? I mean, I feel like my cheeks are a little bit more pronounced.
They definitely are. Like, you haven't eaten in many days.
How's the chin though?
I mean, it's definitely more prominent. Like, I think it might be the main feature of your face now. Either that
also, I use that sulfur toothpaste.
Oh, wow. Yeah. White, very, very white teeth. Yeah.
How's that smile now? $1 million.
Yeah, your eyes look so much brighter.
Yeah, we want to do this to all the videos we make for Super. So get ready for that.
Man, that'll definitely grab people's attention.
I'm trying to go full clavicular on our brand. All right, so we need to looks max, and we need to apply that to our video content as well. All right, next we're going to be looking at some of the YouTube stuff. This is how I actually look. If you can't tell the difference in that and me in real life, then man, society is doomed. Shout out to the media team for making that. We made basically 2.5 hours worth of content, 4 commercials. That's only about half of what we made in the last week and a half. And we're not even a marketing company. If you enjoyed any of this and thought it was impressive, you should damn sure book a demo, because what we have for sales teams and ops teams is 1,000% better than any of this. Anyway, last thing we have is 2 people arguing with each other about sales behavior, sales ops, training, LMS, the general state of the world, AI. Here is the last show of the day, and we will come back for a brief ending. Matt Bolian and Crispy Barnett for Pardon the POV.
That was great. There's no intro. You, for some reason, I want to usually there's a whole Pardon the POV intro. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Pardon the POV. I am here with the internet's boyfriend, but he got his hair cut.
That's right.
Who are you now? The internet's what?
I don't know. Our lovely host said the internet's daddy now.
The internet.
Okay. That's quite the term.
Poppy Day Internet.
Well, let's get to spanking here, Robert. Let's go.
Trying something a bit different because we love iterating. Question 1. Stop hiring humans is the topic. I have a visual aid. Let's see if it works. Artisan AI ran billboards across San Francisco. Probably saw them while we were there. Then New York and London, reading "Stop hiring humans" next to a smiling AI sales rep named Ava. Before you interject with outrage, let me finish. Other taglines brag that artisans won't complain about work-life balance and won't come into work hungover, unlike Matt. The CEO called the campaign shock value and admitted it was meant to be triggering. You're looking at that right now on screen. A company has built its entire brand on 3 words: stop hiring humans. They put an AI's face on a billboard and bragged that she'll never ask for a day off. People sent death threats. It also made them about $2 million. So before we pretend we're above it, answer this question. An SMB founder making their first sales hire in 2026. Smart money goes on an AI agent over a human. Agree or disagree? 3, 2, 1.
Disagree.
Matt, you're up.
Well, it just in general, if you're an SMB, you're a founder, you're just getting started, you need someone else in the room with you to help you create a founding sales team. So I'm not against necessarily having agents and AIs help, but you don't even have a process to scale. You don't even know what's working, what's not working. And to be able to do something, you must be able to have a process that a human can follow to even turn it in. Now, this is what will change. Is sales reps will have higher AAR, higher expectations as the tools get better and better. And I actually don't think necessarily there's going to be a bunch of agents. I think there's going to be humans that have higher expectations, and the work will get generated through agents or AI in some way. So first hire should be 400 freaking sure. But even before you get an AI agent tool, a human to help you figure out the process.
Wrong sounder, but it was also the right sounder. Crispy, you're up.
I agree. I think that for anyone who has been the first sales hire to a founder, you are more than just a first sales hire. You are the figure outer of process and revenue and strategy and stuff like that. And an agent cannot be turnkey enough or doesn't come ready out of the box to be that resource for you if you're an SMB founder from the starting point. It doesn't work like that. You're doing a lot of validation around go-to-market. You're doing a lot of validation around value props, a lot of validation around objections and ICPs. And an agent is just not the best place to start doing that. It's very binary. You need a human that's going to be more flexible and factor in strategy and reasoning and things that will actually maintain impact and help you scale.
Got to keep you loose with the sounders.
Keep them loose.
That was good. The billboard was weird, shocking, and people use it. I don't know who in the hell would buy from that. Maybe I haven't had the best experience, but I have talked to one. It's not very good. Question 2. Here is the visual. So this is our friend. I say friend loosely. Jason Lemkin. The middle of your team, Jason Lemkin, founder of SaaStr, replaced most of his go-to-market team. He moved from 8 or 9 humans to roughly 1.2 humans plus 20 agents. He kept revenue flat. The line, agents are better than a mid-pack AE, SDR, or BDR, just not better than the best performers. And that middle tier is the one that can't compete. Agents generated 15% of SaaStr London's revenue. That is the link that you're looking at here. Pretty cool article. I think Matt has read this in depth and had some opinions on it, which I can't wait to hear Matt's take because it is spicy. So Lemkin isn't a hype guy. He's funded $200 million of B2B, and he just said something that most people think is quiet, but are saying more and more. It's on the record. Your best reps are safe. Your worst reps were always leaving. The new casualty is really the solid, like the middle tier. Your question, the average competent rep, the dependable middle of your team, quote unquote, is now able to be outperformed consistently by AI agents. Agree? Disagree? 3, 2, 1.
Disagree.
Agree.
Woo! Crispy, you unfortunately or fortunately are up first. Go ahead.
I've had a realization recently, and I think it is best phrased in one single sentence, which is AI will expose the mediocrity in people more. Mediocre reps will become more mediocre, and the middle will be forced to become the top layer or the bottom layer. And in most scenarios that I've seen, they are becoming more of the bottom layer. So I think that the top 90% of that sales team is AI enabled, and that's why they're remaining as the top 90%. I think in this scenario, measuring, pipeline has stayed the same, 0 closed deals, stuff like that. That does not factor in the cost of what sales reps are if you replace them in that model. So technically, there is some upside to that if you're replacing them with SDRs directly. I don't believe that the middle tier of your sales team is the thing that makes or breaks your revenue engine. I think it's the top layer.
Love that. It is also, Matt, I will say this really quick. I would replace, just for anyone listening to this that may not be as familiar, AI or agent or whatever with tool. In the fire department, there were people with a Halligan, the fire tool, that were amazing with it, and people that were absolute dog shit with it and couldn't tell the front end from the back end. So go ahead, Matt.
This is the average competent rep. The dependable middle is now outperformed by AI agents, and that I disagree with. What I think is going to happen is this is like a Amazonification effect, where 2-day shipping became the norm, and now everybody must have 2-day shipping, or it's no longer a good experience. So what will happen? I agree 100% with what Crispy said. I just don't agree with this binary. What will happen is mediocrity. There's going to be mediocre people. Everyone's going to be better. There's going to be a baseline. The software we have will get better, so that the mediocre will just be better. So is it going to get rid of average competent reps? Absolutely not. In fact, we must have a pipeline to be able to feed new reps. And so there's going to be, a reality is the base, the top is going to get higher, and the medium is going to get higher, and everything will rise with it. And the bad reps just will be exposed almost freakingly, and they're going to be pushed out. That's what I think is going to happen. So it will not get rid of mid-tier performers.
That's the sound of your mid-tier performers.
At least they're bouncing. You need something. So.
Getting bounced out. I believe also you used a term I've never heard, immediately. Yeah. What does that mean?
It means faster than immediately. Urgently, that is immediate. Now.
Lorenzo, can you add immediately to the show notes, just in case anybody wants to look it up? Next question. I will preface this question is you might have the response hearing this is what does this have to do with sales? That is your job on this question, is to make the connection. So get ready. And we have the visual. Does ChatGPT make you dumber?
Yes.
Speaking of what Crispy was saying in his thing. MIT Media Lab study, your brain on GPT wired up. I wonder if that's the same people that did your brain on drugs. Anyway, they wired up people writing essays. EEG showed the AI group had the weakest brain connectivity, lowest sense of ownership over their work, and the most trouble quoting their own essays minutes after writing them. Researchers named it cognitive debt. We've talked about that on the show before. Here's the visual. The article is really illuminating, I think. But picture your sales team, right? Go-to-market team even. Every email written by AI, every call plan generated by AI, every recording spat back to you, thrown up, regurgitated by AI. Every objection rebuttal is pasted from a tool with AI. MIT scanned people doing exactly that and watched their brains go quiet. One camp says you're building a team that can't think. Other camp, including one of the most credible AI voices alive, says that's a lazy read of the data. Pick a side. So reps who outsource their thinking almost exclusively to AI get measurably worse at selling over time. Agree? Disagree? 3, 2, 1.
Agree.
I agree too, but I'd like to hear y'all talk about it. Matt, you're up first.
Look, I'm going to put this in a real life. So it sounds different. Is I'm in a church and we're going over. There's doctrine. There's dogmatic things. There's very specific ways. Like, what's the doctrine of Scripture? What's the doctrine of creation? It's called catechisms. It's like how you teach a human how to think and have structures on what they're thinking. And I cheated. I used AI to help me write these things, and went into this cohort of people. They asked me the questions, and I could not remember one thing that I had written on that piece of paper. And I helped curate it. I helped ask it. And I was like, holy moly, I am dumber. And if I keep doing this, I will not be able to even say what I think or why I believe what I say or what I've written. I must start thinking. And I think the same will be in all their places and spaces where AI is helpful, but if it replaces the gurgling, how you metastasize things, how you create them, it will make us dumber. We must go through struggle and suffering. And if we remove that because we're human and we seek pleasure, we will get less human.
Just as a note, I think you almost forgot how to say metastasize.
I was trying to.
You recovered. Yeah, that was almost one of those things that you lose. But to your point, you were thinking for yourself. You were able to find the word. That was really good. Crispy.
Anyone who is outsourcing their thinking to AI is outsourcing their purpose in their job altogether. You're functionally replacing yourself, and it's very stupid to do so. That's like piece one. Piece two is I think about Jensen Huang, founder of NVIDIA. He has a great quote where he was in an interview recently at a conference, and someone asked him, who's the most intelligent person that you know? And he had a hard time answering it. And the thing that he ended up coming to was the measure of intelligence is your ability to use resources to figure out problems. And that does not mean using AI to think for you. It's what resources can I use to help me make decisions on my own. So I think the balance here and what you should not do is use AI to make your decisions and think for you. It's how can I use AI to challenge my own thoughts and do my research to then functionally train me as a person and make myself better overall. So answering the binary, reps who are outsourcing all their thinking to AI get measurably worse at selling. They get measurably worse at everything. You're degrading the quality of yourself as a human.
I love both those answers. This is the bonus follow-up of the day. We have a sounder for that. Breaking news, we have a follow-up based off of that question. Where do you draw the line, right? Because there are some things that are specifically like geared towards AI, organization of things, finding something very quickly. Think Google, like what Google was traditionally used for. So search. Where does the thinking line get drawn for you?
For me, is this a good use of my time or not? And I think that's a hard question that people can't answer nowadays is this something that I should outsource to AI, or is this something that I should not outsource to AI based upon the quality and measurement of my time spent doing it? That's how I do it. So fun fact for everyone listening to this, go and quantify your time in a dollar amount. Easiest thing that you could possibly do, and let that dictate whether AI should do it for you.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, I don't think anybody that says they have a good answer for this has a good answer for this yet. I think there's an outcome where we end up saying AI is actually generatively awful for humans to be able to have access to, and that we actually make it where people don't have access to it until they're 18 or 21. I think it's we're getting to the point. So reality is, because my experience of this, where's the line? Where's the line? That should be where's the line. Is here's what I see it happening to me, and this is what's scary. My wife asks a question, or somebody sends an email, and I don't know exactly how to answer. My first intuition, because it's easier, I'll go to AI, ask it, and it's often right. And this is where I think we as humans, what makes us humans, or what makes us grow, is suffering and pain. But also, it's been shown over time and time again, a hidden priority for humans. It's almost like genetically built into us, is to prioritize convenience. Anytime we're given the option of convenience, we always, as a human race, choose convenience. AI is convenience. And I think it's very dangerous. It almost creates a dopamine hit to get something right. I think I do not know where the line is, and all I can say is in my life, I keep pushing the line down, where I use AI less and less and less. And I'm very I have a lot of trepidation on how much it's used long term. That's my answer right now.
Yeah. Both of those were good. Crispy, I was just going to give you a shout out and say pain, suffering, and socially, like shame and pride and reward is like, if you never feel the pride of having suffered and given effort that was like, yay, you know, or the shame of having done something that wasn't very good.
Or we all just play sports in the future and we don't do any thinking. I'm trying to
This is I'm just going to go to the next one because we probably could have done a whole show on this, but I want to get to these last two questions. The one coming up after this is really good. So really quick, $70 billion bonfire. Here's the visual. Production. This is Chris Orlob, by the way. We know him. I'm going to read the question and the setup now. Where have you heard this, by the way? Companies spend north of $70 billion a year on sales training. Is that a good use of their money? And most estimates say 84% of the training is forgotten within 90 days. One ES research study put it bluntly, about 90% of all sales training has no lasting impact on behavior. Shout out to the State of Sales Enablement 2026 by Super. Every company in this audience has done it. Flew the team to a hotel, 2 days of methodology, role plays, trainings, mock calls. Within 3 months, 84 cents of every dollar evaporated, and the team still sells exactly how it sold before. So we're going to stop being polite about it. The corporate sales training budget is money that you've lit on fire. Agree or disagree? 3, 2, 1.
Agree.
Awesome. I'm going to say disagree just because it says the corporate sales training budget, because you should spend that.
All right, Crispy, you're up first, and we may not let Matt go.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I think about a lot of the industries that tend to lag behind others when it comes to technology, digital transformation, usage of AI. Think about manufacturing, construction, stuff like that. They tend to lag generally 5 to 7 years behind everyone else. Corporate training, when it comes to sales teams, is also a function in business that lags behind pretty much everything else. Examples, marketing has changed from SEO to AEO, and everyone's thinking about AI and generative stuff. Corporate sales training has not changed since the pandemic has occurred. The structure has not evolved with the way that our society in the business world, the way that we're conditioned to expect to receive information in the flow of work in a way that's digestible every single time. So corporate sales training now is an outdated methodology that is really just a check the box sort of initiative to say, hey, we do corporate training, when in reality it has zero impact on an ongoing basis for anyone who is actually going through the training itself.
I agree. I'm going to take Matt's turn and punish him because, number one, you didn't respond within 3 seconds.
I
Number
disagree.
two, I feel like you just said that for no reason. I'll say this. Maybe this will help your answer a little bit. Reason number one by Chris Orlob. Now, you may not know who I am. You should know this handsome guy at the bottom and the redheaded guy here. They're way more popular, but you should know Chris Orlob if you're in this sphere. His number one reason, no diagnostics or revenue damage measurement. You know what he's saying? There isn't anything, the output's not measured first. You just start training shit without knowing what you're actually trying to change with the training itself, which is, can I do it? Can I do it?
Yeah.
That's what we do. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah. So I disagree. Corporate training, it's like I read it. The corporate sales training budget, money is lit on fire. I disagree. The spend is not the problem. In fact, especially in AI world, is you're gonna people need more training. They need more behavioral change. The spend is not the problem. In fact, you shouldn't. It's where we're spending it. It's the absence of reinforcement. It's the absence of behavior change. So yes, people need training. Do they need an event where they go and you spend time with people and you talk about something they're going to forget and 84% don't remember it within 90 days? No. Do you need a training mechanism that makes people better as they're doing their work and helps them measure against a cohort of peers? Yes. You need corporate training. You just don't need a corporate training event.
All I can say to that is
spend your money with Super. Yeah.
That was very good. You may have changed my mind on that. Well positioned. Last question. We have very little time left, so we'll do this one quickly, but it is a good one. This is, Kill the pipeline review,
I
right?
love showing all this stuff. This is great.
It's good to look at. It's good for our audience. It's just specifically so they're not distracted by Crispy. Anyway, something else to look at. Kill the pipeline review. A growing argument says the weekly pipeline review is dead weight. I've argued this to Matt before, and he kind of put me in my place and said, hold off. If you've invested in CRM and still need verbal confirmations from reps, the problem is culture and enablement, not the meeting, and the fix is not more meetings. The reason this information sucks, 80% or 79% of sales organizations miss their forecast by more than 10%. Only 7% hit 90+% accuracy. 87% of finance execs say forecasts are outdated. A lot of problem with forecasting, right? The setup really is this. Friday afternoon, reps read their Salesforce, HubSpot records aloud to a manager who could have done all that him or herself. Everyone nods at a forecast everyone knows is bullshit. We've all sat in that room before. Y'all have ran it. One side says burn it down. The other side says that room is the only thing keeping deals from dying in silence. And I think one or both of y'all might say there's a better way to do it. Binary question. The weekly pipeline review meeting should be killed entirely. Agree or disagree? 3, 2, 1.
Disagree.
Agree.
This is a good episode. All right. I think it's Crispy's turn to go first. If not, Crispy, go first.
Yeah. I think that those that want to kill the pipeline review are doing it wrong. And that if they're just reading data from a screen, a lot like reading a presentation and verbatim what the text is on the slide, it's bad and no one pays attention. Here's what I feel about this. The data that lives in a CRM is subjective based upon what has been put in. And a lot of the times there's gaps in that data, number one. Number two is there's often a story behind the data that the data does not tell you. And that's what I want to hear from the rep whenever I do pipeline reviews. Final point is I believe shame is fucking powerful. And I've said that again in the sense of if you are not doing the right things, and I point that out in a pipeline review, that is the sales enablement. That is the education point where I will ask you, why does this not exist? And I will go through all of your deals to figure out why these data points do not exist directly. So weekly pipeline review is important for both the revenue standpoint and for establishing a standard across all of your reps and your sales team.
For me, and I'm going to pull a Matt here to clarify, are you saying that it could be needed? People are just, one, not prepped for it at all, two, inputting the wrong thing or not inputting anything. So it's a horrible usage of time in the way that it's like taking place now usually.
Yeah, if you're taking just deal data points or opportunity data points in Salesforce at face value as your pipeline review, you're doing it wrong.
Okay. All right, Matt.
Yeah, I disagree too. A lot of the same reasons Crispy said. I think to do this, number one, if people don't like your weekly pipeline meetings, you're running it wrong. It's not useful. So yes, there's something about running one well. But I think this is number two, and this gets to the deeper level because this is used and presupposed upon a future where individuals can autonomously do the right thing and have AI tell them everything they need to be told about the deal and then execute on it. That's what this is presupposed upon. And I don't think it's good for humans to not have people speak into their lives. And what they're doing instead, like the alternative, is for them to say, what should I do with this deal? And they're going to get 4 options from Claudia saying, do it this way. Who helps them decide what's right there? They're just going to ask another AI agent another question. No, that's what coaching is for. Get on a call, understand what's actually happening. And the way the manager asks the question will help train the rep more than the data itself. And that's what Crispy was talking about. There's a story behind the data, and that's what's important.
Amen to that. I will award the victory of the day to Crispy's haircut. Looks freaking awesome. So Crispy, if you want to bring us home, Matt, well fought, well positioned, but the hair is S tier. Go ahead.
Oh, S tier. Man, I'm flattered. Overwhelming lesson from everything we talked about today is AI will expose mediocrity. It will make those that are excellent reps and excellent operators even better by fostering thoughts and strategy. The more you use it to help make your decisions, not make your decisions fully, the better off of a person you will be. And you supered.
There we go. And now we can end it. See you next week on Pardon the POV. I hear that sounder for PTPOV in my dreams most of the time. It was a great episode today. Thanks for the people that stopped by. All this is available on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is absolutely exploding with content. We will get 1% better next week. And if you have recommendations, send them directly to Matt Bolian on LinkedIn. He listens to all of them. Or send them to me. We want to make content about things people care about. Namely, I guess in the absence of a lot of recommendations, we're making things that we believe sales leaders, sales enablement folks need to care about and need to think about in a different light. Sometimes with humor, sometimes with, sometimes without, but always with hopefully a very convicted position. In the words of Matt, stay awesome, keep doing it big, and never, ever, 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 never, ever, never